Welcome to this week's episode of Safety Brainiacs. Today we're talking about a very important element of your safety management system, and that is workplace inspections. So the great thing about workplace inspections, it's one of the best ways to identify potential losses to your people, your property, and your process before it actually occurs. Specifically, some of the best reasons for conducting workplace inspections are to look at equipment deficiencies, to demonstrate management commitment, and also to be looking for substandard acts and substandard practices. Sometimes I find that inspections are focused only on physical hazards, and people fail to realize that one of the things they can also be inspecting or observing is the work practices themselves. So you do want to identify substandard acts and practices, but you also want to identify positive acts and practices and be rewarding or commending those as well. Another reason why you'd want to conduct workplace inspections is that you want to do it before the regulator drops by unexpectedly. So recently, a manufacturer was fined approximately $60,000. A worker took the fingertip off on an unguarded piece of machinery, and so it resulted in a serious incident to the worker and also the prosecution to the employer. So isn't it reasonable to believe that if one would be doing regular workplace inspections, this is something that might have been caught beforehand? Perhaps the physical equipment defect could have been identified in that the guard was missing, or perhaps somebody might have observed that a worker was maybe repetitively using a machine and taking that guard off. So who should be conducting workplace inspections? So in most jurisdictions, it lays out the responsibilities of employers to ensure that inspections occur in the workplace. But typically, it's also one of the responsibilities of your workplace safety and health committee or representative. In my view, the safety committee inspections do not replace those required by the employer. Inspections by the workplace safety and health committee should be in addition to employer inspections. The purpose of the committee is to monitor the workplace and make sure the management system is working. And typically those inspections are to be done quarterly by the workplace safety and health committee. So there's 5 basic steps to conducting workplace inspections. Number 1, we already mentioned, you're going to walk through the area that you're inspecting, identifying all hazard and loss potentials. And remember, that's loss to people, property, process, and the environment. It's not just physical hazards, but it's also observing people at work, visitors, etc. Once you've identified a hazard, then you're going to assess that hazard and actually assess the risk of that hazard actually causing loss. You're assessing both potential severity as well as probability that it could result in harm, so that you can prioritize your hazards and ensure the most serious ones are controlled first. Once you've assessed your hazards, then you're going to select your control measures. So obviously elimination is ideal initially, then engineering controls, etc., protective equipment, and so on. And remember that your control measure should be reasonable and practical. And in many cases, you may need more than one control measure. After you have selected your control measures, the 4th step is you're going to actually implement and communicate those control measures. So you want to make sure the corrective action is actually taken and that you inform workers about it, the workers in the area that are affected. And finally, best practices, you're going to monitor your controls and follow up to make sure they're actually working. So those are the 5 key steps to effective workplace inspections. They are a critical component to your workplace safety management system. One challenge you can have with inspections is making sure they actually get done. So you have inspections of the general workplace, of fire extinguishers, of first aid kits, of fall protection, of mobile equipment, of tools and equipment. There's lots of inspections to be performed. One of the ways that we can help is My Safety Assistant has now implemented a scheduling system where you can actually schedule out all the inspections that are needed, whether it's daily, weekly, quarterly, or on demand. And once they're scheduled, you will now have My Safety Assistant doing the heavy lifting for you, making sure that they actually get done. The schedule will appear on your workers' phones along with your actual checklist or your inspection checklist. My Safety Assistant, the first 5 licenses are free. Please click the link below to take you right to your free version of My Safety Assistant. That is our episode of Safety Brainiacs for this week. And remember, a safety brainiac is an exceptionally intelligent person. Go out there, make great safety choices, and thank you for your interest in the safety of your people and the viability of your business.